So what does Paul Ryan's selection mean for the 2012 presidential election? For a fair and balanced debate, we're joined by Democratic campaign consultant Ryan Clayton, founder of 100proofpolitics.com, and GOP pollster Adam Geller, founder and CEO of National Research Incorporated. Thank you both for joining us.
Good to be here, Heather.
Thanks for having us.
So, Adam, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
What does this pick mean for the Romney campaign?
I mean, it is a monumental pick. It means that they are going to, as we see from the news coverage today, really begin to change the debate and the discussion of the campaign and really crystallize it that it's about a vision, a philosophy of the role of government in the United States, what it's going to mean in our lives going forward and for future generations. It is a historic pick.
Yeah, a lot of cheers from Republicans, but also some cheers from Democrats already coming out with some of their slogans going forward. Republicans saying that it's America's comeback team. Democrats countering, saying that it's the go-back team. So, Ryan, what does this mean for Democrats moving forward?
Well, as a Democrat, I'm excited today. You know, putting Paul Ryan on the presidential ticket is a disaster for Mitt Romney's campaign because seniors are never going to vote for a guy that wants to end Medicare as we know it. And parents are never going to vote for a guy that wants to take teachers out of the classroom so he can hand, tax giveaways to his corporate campaign contributors. And, most Americans should stand up to these opportunistic politicians like Paul Ryan, who thinks the path to prosperity is by putting 4 million more Americans out of work. That's not the way we're going to build an economy that's built to last. And it's probably the reason that Congress has a 12% approval rating, because of politicians like Paul Ryan. And I don't think that's going to help Mitt Romney's numbers in the polls at all.
Adam, end Medicare as we know it?
Look, what you're going to see is a lot of small ball, personal sniping and attacks from the Democrats, as we're seeing right now. Ending, Medicare, that is the big thing, because it's little stuff. That's all the Democrats are going to be reduced to, are these ridiculous attacks. The Ryan budget doesn't end Medicare. We know that there's an option to keep Medicare. And by the way, it is so foolish for the Democrats to talk about Ryan on Medicare when Obamacare cuts $500 billion out of Medicare. The reason that they're not going to be able to use it is because every time they say that, we're going to talk about Obamacare and the cuts they make and the fairness and the intellectual honesty of Paul Ryan, who is saying to the American people, I'm not going to treat you like kids. I'm going to have a grown-up conversation with you. We're going to talk like adults. Let's have an honest intellectual discussion as to how we can move forward and keep this program. And yeah, there's going to be vouchers down the road that's going to force competition and lower costs. It makes a lot of sense.
And I would point out
seniors aren't going to lose anything, and they're not going to be scared of anything.
And sometimes it comes down to how it's being defined. And there is actually this poll that was taken by a Democratic pollster, Ryan, Democracy Corps, and it showed that the Ryan budget, if it's described in the way Republicans would like it be described in battleground states, in battleground House districts, 52% of voters say that they support it. But moving forward, Ryan, do you agree that this will change the narrative of the campaign?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Romney-Ryan budget because, Romney and Paul Ryan have admitted that they base their policy on the teachings of atheist philosopher Ayn Rand, who believes that selfishness is a virtue. And I don't think evangelical voters in the heartland, where I'm from, are going to like hearing that sort of thing. They'll be shocked to hear that he forced members of his congressional staff to read the teachings of an atheist philosopher prior to working for him in Congress, and most Americans reject the idea that selfishness is a virtue, that greed is good, and that charity is evil. That's the kind of things that Ayn Rand teaches and that Paul Ryan believes, and that doesn't sound very American to me, and it doesn't sound very Christian to me, quite frankly.
Adam,
Ryan,
I'm going to let you respond to that.
Thank you. I think you're off the rails on that a little bit. I think that there's a difference between believing in individual freedom and determinism versus big Soviet-style big government telling you what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot purchase, and the big government determining your future. This is all about capitalism. This is all about individuals determining their own fate, and it is a fundamental philosophical discussion. This is a huge philosophical contrast, and it really is historical in that regard.
Well, look, let's bring it back to the issue at hand. This is Sarah Palin part 2. Paul Ryan's never held a real job in his entire life outside of politics, and Mitt Romney picking him is a complete contradiction.
Hold on, Ryan.
He was a complete contradiction of everything that Mitt Romney said he's running his campaign on. That's the exact same mistake that McCain made in 2008.
Buddy. He was a waiter. He was a fitness trainer. His dad passed away when he was a young guy. He had to go and work and support his family. So, Ryan, you better reread that bio. And the Sarah Palin thing is ridiculous, but I expect that we're going to hear a lot of this kind of, grasping at straws from Democrats. Bring it on. We're ready.
Yeah,
Let's go.
his dad passed away when he was
Campaign time.
16, and Paul Ryan actually found his body because his mom was away visiting his older sister at the time. So a lot shaping as we move forward in this presidential campaign. Thank you both for joining us.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.